Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to be making a Christmas ornament with paper and styrofoam. I hope you'll stay tuned. Well, this project so far has been a little bit of a nightmare, and I'm hoping it gets better as I go. I started the ball so that I started this ball so that I could get an idea of how to do it. And I'm not sure if it's going to turn out or not, but I thought I would still play with it with you guys and see what you think. This ball is much bigger than the one I saw on videos where other people did this kind of project, and they did it with cloth. My ball is a 4-inch ball. They use a 3-inch ball, and trust me when I tell you, you don't want to do a 4-inch ball. It's way too big for this project. It's just a nightmare. So I'm going to start from the other end, the one that has this little doodad on it that holds your ball, and I'm going to take that off. I know it gouged out a big hole. Don't worry, I'm going to be covering that back up. I want to do the same pattern on both the top and the bottom. I have a whole bunch of strips already cut and folded, but we're still going to do a little bit of that together with this green paper. You're going to want to cut your paper into 2-inch squares, and you can do it a number of ways. But I'm going to show you the easiest, well, what I thought was the easiest way to do it. This was 12 by 12 inch paper. You want the lightest paper you can find, and I mean the lightest. If I was you, I would go to Joann's or Michael's and go to their open stock and buy 3 sheets or 4 sheets, 3 of different patterns. You'll need 3 different patterns. I'm doing 4 different patterns because I have a 4-inch ball and I didn't know I was supposed to do a 4-inch ball. But anyway, if I hadn't done a 4-inch ball, I could have done 3 patterns. But unfortunately, because I bought, that's what I did. Anyway, I got the big ball. You're going to want to cut your strips. What I did was I cut a 2-inch strip and then I layered them on top of each other like that. You want to make sure they're really, really lined up. Don't kind of lay them on top of each other. You want to make sure they're really laid perfectly on top of each other. And then you want to cut at 2 inches and then slide it down, making sure that they're still lined up. 2 inches like that. Got it? Then I'm going to show you the easiest way to do this. You're going to laugh at how I did this. I watched, as I said, some videos where people did this with fabric. With fabric, it's a lot different because you have to do things with fabric the way fabric works. But with paper, it's a little bit different. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold your paper in half, trying to make sure you don't see any of the paper underneath. But if you do, that's okay because I'll show you how to fix that. Then, what I was doing, because this is what I saw the fabric people doing, this is such a wasted step. I opened it back up and I folded it again this way. Don't do that. Just keep it folded like this and then fold it in half again. Because it's paper, it's going to maintain that line that you need. And really what all you're shooting for here is this center line. You want to crease it down really well. And you probably can't see the center line, but I can. What you're going to do then, and this is the easiest way I did it, is I stuck my thumbnail right, hopefully you can see this, right on the line. So I know exactly where the line is at the top. The top is the only part that's kind of tricky. Then you're going to fold at an angle. Then I turn it around, making sure that my top is really well creased. I turn it around and then I do the other side. Same way, making sure it's lined up. Now, you can see I have some white paper here on this edge. All I did, because, I'm not going to refold this paper, all I did then is I just snipped it off because I could. And no one will know the difference. See how much better it looks? I'll show you one more time because I don't want you to think, how'd she do that? Okay, you're going to fold it in half one time, trying to line it up as best you can. If your paper is thicker, this part isn't hard, but this next part where you're folding it like a book is hard. So try to get the thinnest paper you can. And you can see I've already got white paper showing. Sometimes with your paper trimmer trims, it's a little bit off, and that can be problematic. In my case, as I said before, I'm not dealing with that. I'll just snip it off. I don't think it makes a difference, but if it does, we're going to get rid of it. Then I'm going to stick my fingernail right on the center crease. I can see it right there. And then I'm going to take the top and fold it to that center line. Make sure it's well creased. Turn it around. It's easier for me to do it this way. And then you want to make sure that your two sides meet up in the middle so that you have a nice line there. Like that. Got it? Now, again, I have some white showing and some unevenness in the bottom. I'm just going to carefully do that to it. That's all we're going to do for now. I hope that you got that. Then, here's the thing that is different between fabric and paper. With fabric, you can easily, and I mean easily, pin it down. But with paper, you have to come up with something that's going to hold it and keep it in place. And I used some glue dots and some tear tape. You might want to try something else, but for me, I felt that this was a good way to make sure that everything would stay where I wanted it to. But even with that being said, and putting tear tape underneath my center, it seemed like the paper tried to pull away from each other. See that in the center there? It kind of pulled away. That annoyed me. So we're going to figure out a way to do the other side so that we don't have that problem going forward. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my ball in the center of tear tape. If you have like a bowl or something that'll stop it from rolling all over the place, that'll be really handy for you. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over the top of the ball to the center like that. Probably past the center because I want to almost meet up with the other paper that I already have in place. And then I'm going to take off the backing on my tear tape. Put some going this way. I'm going to have some another line of paper on both sides, and then I'm going to have ribbon in the middle. So this is probably going down the ball too far, or you know, I don't really need it to go this far. I'm gonna do another cross of my tear tape because I want to have my paper have something to attach to besides the styrofoam. What I found was the styrofoam doesn't hold it as much as you would want it to, and that's annoying, just so you know. Okay, so my first set of papers are these little plaid ones, these ones. So I'll need only 4 of those. These are the only ones that when you lay them down, it really makes a big difference if you can see that the line is perfect on them. And I'll show you that as we get this going. But I just want to tell you that was one of those things that as I was doing, I was thinking, man, oh man, this would be a lot easier if, and in my case, it would be a lot easier if I was really good at making sure that they were lined up properly. Okay, I then put tear tape along the back bottom of each of my triangles. You see that? That's the back. This is the front that has the opening. The back is no opening. We're going to put tear tape on the back of 4 of them because that's all we need for the first row. And then I'm only going to show you the first row in regular speed, and then we're going to do the second row in a faster speed because I don't think you're going to want to watch me do this in slow motion. Or yeah, in slow motion. I don't think you're going to want to see me do this in normal speed. Okay, so you're going to take the backing off your tear tape that's on your triangles. Then what I did was I found small glue dots, and I'm sure you won't be able to see these where they are right now, but I'm going to take them off and hopefully you'll be able to see them. Probably not. They're small glue dots. I think they're called mini glue dots. And I used a mini glue dot at the very top where I'm going to have it go into the center of my ball. And then the bottoms are going to be tear taped down. Then I used another glue dot because when I put this on the curve of this ball, my my two flaps seem to come up. And so what I did then is I just put a little bit, one of those glue dots underneath that so it stays down. It doesn't, creep up. Okay, gotta get another one. When you do this, you want to make sure that you're putting your triangles directly across from each other when you lay them in place. So I'm going to make sure my points line up and that they're touching. Actually, you might even want to make them so that they're overlapping, because mine, as I said, mine pulled apart from each other. I don't know why, but they did. Maybe this one won't. This end, this side, whatever. Need another glue dot. And then you want to lay this one right there in that little opening. And I'm sure you can see that these points come up where the two lines meet. So you want to put a glue dot under those just to make sure that everything lays down on your ball. You don't have to do that if you make it out of cloth, because clearly it's a lot easier to do cloth than it is to do paper. It never occurred to me that doing paper would be a little bit problematic, but it is. Okay, this is our fourth one. We'll stick that in place. Okay, so we want to shove them so that they're all really pushed together. Mine overlap for some unknown reason. I don't know why, but that won't be a problem once I do my next row. So let me get the next ones lined with the tear tape, and then I'll be right back. So next up, we're going to move down about 1/2 of an inch from we're going to line our triangle up with the triangle above it, and line up the line so the line is going straight, so that each one of your triangles has the same lineup. And then I'm going to stick a little bit. I'm going to stick one of my glue dots underneath that. Then you want to work from across from each other, from side to side. So I'm going to go over here and put this one, and trying to make it about the same distance as the other one I just laid in. And again, you want to have it so that your line is straight with the line above it. See this line right here? You want to put a glue dot under the top to push it down like that, and then you want to put a glue dot inside your little V to hold that part down. See how they try to pull apart from each other? I don't know why they do that. They just do. Then we're going to go across from each other. I already put my tear tape on the bottom if you didn't know that. And the only thing I'm doing now is adding a glue dot to the top. And then I'm going to go across from this one. Again, about 1/2 inch from the top. I need to move that one. Then I'm going to put another glue dot underneath this section. My fingers are stuck to it naturally. Why wouldn't they be? There's that one. Then this one that's stuck to me, I'm going to line this one up right there. Move this one. Put that one right there. And then my last one. So the first row takes 4, the second row takes 8, and the next row I think takes 10, but I might be making that up. Let me see how I'm doing as far as distance from my other one over here. That's about that far. All right, then we're on to our next row. You're going to do the exact same thing. This one's missing a glue dot in the center, I think. That's all those, and they're all laying pretty well. Lining up. Now, of course, my snowflake, you can make a different pattern by wherever you move these further or closer, to each other. let me do the red layer next. I'm going to do the red layer in fast motion. So now I'm going to do the red layer, and I think I'm going to do this in fast motion. Now let me tell you about the problem I had when I did this green layer down below. Because the ball got so much bigger, I had to fill in between with that green layer, which is the one I'm going to be doing now. And so it took, I think, 18. So in this row, I think these two rows, I think I did 8 in each one. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah. And then I think there's 18 in this one. Let me count them. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yep. I think there's 18. So I've already put the, put all of the tear tape on the back of those. But I need to fill in the glue dots in the bottom part of these so that they lay flatter. Because I don't want to end up having them stick up. If anything sticks up, all I recommend you doing is glue dot them down. The more glue dots you use, the better you're going to like your ball, because it's going to be flatter. So let's start with some of our green layers. Okay, I'm going to line this one up right there. You want it as straight as you can get it with the row above it. Sometimes I lay it down and I think it's straight, and then I look at it again and it's not. And I'm only going down, I guess I'm going to go down further. I want to go down far enough, probably about 1/2 inch, because I do have, unlike the other rows, now I've got a lot of extra paper by using the fill-in. So I can go further down, I hope, because I think it will look better if I do. Right, so the way I'm going to put every other one, I'm going to put it like this, so it's overlapping. See that? How it's in between the two? Because normally all we're doing is we're putting one directly below the other, lined up with the line, and lined up about 1/2 inch from the top. But what I found with that last layer is that the red layer is that I didn't seem to be able to go that much further down. I think I only went, well, I don't think I went 1/2 inch. Maybe it is 1/2 inch, but yeah, maybe it is. Didn't seem like it was when I was playing with it. And again, you want to line that up so that it's straight with the one beside it, in front of it, above it. I want above it. That's what I'm shooting for. Okay, I'm going to have Rich speed through this so you can just, watch it as I go. Now I need to find the right ribbon to make this work. I think I might put a layer of paper down and then ribbon over it, because I think that way I will have a good base for you won't be able to see through the ribbon. This is about 1.25 inches, that gap. So we got to come up with a plan of how we're going to make that work. It's pretty. I'm pretty happy with it. I got to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be a horrible mess, but it kind of looks like an artichoke, doesn't it? I think it's pretty. I'm happy with it. So I decided I was going to paint the center section of my ornament, because if I didn't, the trim I'm using, I think, will show through. So I'm using a kind of a tan color. It's not gonna make it so you can't see anything through it, but it's going to be better than seeing the white through it, I think. You know, you'll see some tan and you'll see some of the beady things. Beady things, that's a word. I don't know if it's a word, but we're going with it. Clearly, this is why you want a 3-inch ball instead of a 4-inch ball, because you don't want to end up with this big of a gap. I think the ladies that do it on the sewing channels, they end up with using like maybe inch wide ribbon, and my gap is 1.25 inches. So I've got a pretty significant gap to fill here. So I decided I was going to use 2 different trims. One that's the one I just showed you, that gold, and then another one that I'm going to use to cover up the edges, and it's like a rope. Well, at least that's my plan right now. We'll wait and see what it looks like in a second once I try to put them down here. Okay, we'll let that sit to dry, and then we'll come back and see if we can finish this so it looks okay. So my plan is I'm going to do this trim, and then I'm going to do another trim over it. That's my plan. I'm just going to put some hot glue right there to start it. And then I'm going to drag it into it, I think. Like that. And I want to make sure that I cover. I want the trim to be flat on the ball. Okay, now I need to just line it up so I know I've got enough, but not too much. Not horrible. Now I need to put my trim in here. Alright, so here's my plan. I have this really cool cording that I thought if I kind of laid it right in there. Hold on. Well, the end of it was really coming unraveled, so I wasn't exactly sure if I was going to be able to make it look okay. That's the goal anyway, to make it look like it's not kind of crazy looking. I wanted to put this trim right up against that where the paper meets the cording, so that it wouldn't, so the cording looks intentional underneath and it doesn't look like I'm trying to cover up something, which is what I'm trying to do, trying to cover up my crazy edges. The tricky part about this is going to be cutting it at the very end to make sure that it lays in place. Kind of worried about that part, trying to make sure it looks right. I think the hardest part with this trim is cutting it and getting it so it lays where you want it. I gotta cut it right there. I'm going to put it on my lap to do that. Now, all I need to do is stick my little, we'll call it doodad, back in here. I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to make a hole right in the very top so I can jab that thing down in there. And I want to make sure that I get as much of the old styrofoam off of it as I can. This is what it looks like. I guess I don't need that little tag. I got it, all it says is it's 100mm craft foam ornament. I got it at a garage sale, and I think I showed this in one of my haul videos. this foam piece. I'm going to do it on this. Hopefully it'll make it easier to shove in the little hole I just made if I have the glue in place. And then push it in as hard as I can and hold it till the hot glue sets up. Then I have some spots right here. I think you can see this where I have some hot glue. And I'm going to show you what you do to hide that or get rid of it. In my case, I'm going to try and get rid of it. And the way you do it, well, first of all, I need to cut off a little bit of that fuzz. It's on the end of that trim. Hopefully you can see right in here where I have like part of it's the hot glue. It needs to be kind of wet, and I'm just going to do that for a second, and then I'm going to take my scissors and try and scrape off the excess. You just want to get rid of anything that's sticking out, you know, out of your both off of my trim and the beads. You have to be really careful with styrofoam though, because it's easy to melt it. So you want to make sure that you're not melting it. I think that's probably the best I'll be able to do. So here it is, my huge 4-inch Christmas ornament made out of paper and styrofoam. I really had fun doing this. I hope it gives you some ideas of something you might want to try. It's a big one. I hope you give this a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.